The Black Plague, also known as the Black Death, was one of the most catastrophic pandemics in human history. A tragedy of staggering proportions that reshaped societies and economies and left an indelible mark on human culture. Emerging in the early 14th century, the plague is believed to have originated in Central Asia, possibly in the Gobi Desert, before traveling westward along the thriving trade routes of the Silk Road. It reached Europe in 1347, when Genoese trading ships docked at Messina, Sicily, carrying not only goods, but also the seeds of devastation, infected rats and fleas harboring the bacterium Yersinia pestis. The disease spread with frightening speed, moving from port cities to the countryside, wiping out communities as it went. Its impact was accelerated by the densely packed and unsanitary living conditions of medieval towns and cities. Within just a few years, the Black Death had engulfed Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia. The symptoms were horrifying: fever, chills, and the appearance of swollen, painful lymph nodes called buboes. In some cases, the infection spread to the bloodstream or lungs, leading to almost certain death. Few who contracted the plague survived, and in its most virulent forms, it could kill within days or even hours. Between 1347 and 1351, the Black Death is estimated to have killed between 25 and 30 million people in Europe alone, roughly 1/3 of the continent's population at the time. Globally, it may have claimed as many as 75 to 100 million lives. The devastation was so severe that entire villages and towns were abandoned, leaving fields to lie fallow and infrastructure to decay. The sheer scale of the death toll profoundly disrupted feudal societies, creating severe labor shortages and prompting survivors to demand higher wages and better working conditions. This economic upheaval sowed the seeds of the eventual decline of feudalism and the rise of a more market-based economy. The psychological and cultural impact of the Black Death was equally profound. The pandemic ignited waves of religious fervor, as many interpreted the disease as divine punishment for humanity's sins. Flagellant movements emerged, with groups of people traveling from town to town, publicly whipping themselves in an attempt to atone. At the same time, a sense of despair and fatalism gripped societies, giving rise to macabre artistic and literary themes. The Danse Macabre, or Dance of Death, became a popular motif, depicting skeletons leading people from all walks of life to their inevitable end, a chilling reminder of death's universality. The Black Death also gave rise to rampant scapegoating, with marginalized groups, particularly Jews, falsely accused of causing the plague by poisoning wells. This led to widespread persecution and massacres, compounding the human suffering of the era. In some areas, entire Jewish communities were wiped out by violent mobs seeking to assign blame for the inexplicable calamity. Though the pandemic eventually subsided, the plague never entirely disappeared. Outbreaks continued sporadically in the centuries that followed, including the Great Plague of London in 1665, which killed approximately 100,000 people. Modern science would not identify the true cause of the Black Death until the late 19th century, when researchers discovered Yersinia pestis. Today, the disease is treatable with antibiotics if diagnosed early, and outbreaks are rare, though not unheard of. Regions in Africa, Asia, and the Americas still report a few thousand cases annually, often linked to rural areas where humans come into contact with infected animals. The Black Death's enduring legacy is multifaceted. It reshaped the social and economic structures of medieval Europe, accelerating the transition from feudalism to a more modern economic system. It left an indelible imprint on art, literature, and collective memory, serving as a grim reminder of humanity's vulnerability to pandemics. It also taught hard lessons about public health and the importance of scientific inquiry in understanding and combating infectious diseases. Though the world has advanced considerably since the 14th century, the shadow of the Black Death still looms large, its story a testament to the resilience and fragility of human civilization.